am I audible?
Yes,
Hello.
yes, you are audible. Yeah, you can continue.
Okay, sir. Good evening. I hope you are doing well. I warmly welcome all our participants joining us from around the world. It is great honor to have you in the 10th day session of our International Climate Change webinar series, Youth Climate Action 2025. Thank you for being here and showing your commitment to a greener and sustainable future. I am happy to introduce our keynote speakers, Dr. Inch Marelli Tolkima. She is an award-winning petroleum engineer, energy and steam specialist, and global chair of G100 Engineering and Energy in Gabon. Dr. Tulkima is internationally recognized for her expertise in energy transition, renewable energy, and sustainability. Today, she will share her ideas on how countries and communities can move towards a low carbon future and role of youth in the clean energy revolution. We are truly honored to have her with us. Without further delay, I invite Dr. Inch Marelli Tulkima to start her presentation. Ma'am, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you, ma'am. The floor is now yours, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. And I'm really honored to be here. I'm going to have a presentation. You've already, presented me. I'm Dr. Mireille Lekima, based in Perth in Australia, but originally from Gabon. And today I really want to focus my talk on the role of the youth in the innovation for clean energy. So let me share my screen. Just gonna. Okay, all right. So can you see the screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen, ma'am.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. Thank you very much. So just gonna I went a bit too far. So, like I mentioned, I will be talking about the role of youth innovation in the clean energy evolution and revolution, sorry. And it's really linked to the SDG 7, which is about the affordability and clean energy for all. So one thing that we need to focus on, going forward is energy. Energy matters really for, it actually impacts a lot of industries from education, healthcare. It's also one, key factor into creating jobs and in different industry, and also for the digital access and economic growth. And one big thing is also the AI. AI is going to need a lot of energy. We're going to need a lot of energy to power the AI. So that's key, and renewable is there as well. But we really have to find out, how we're going to do it. And as you can see, and as I mentioned, the place of energy in our daily life is tremendous, from powering electricity, for our household, the building, up to deep to the TV that we're watching, the trains that we're taking, the planes as well. So it's really everywhere in our in our life. And then the cars that we have, it can be gasoil or now electrical. So really, it has a big part in our life, and we really need it at all levels. So the key issue is how, where are we going to get the energy, and how are we going to, make sure that the energy that we produce is actually clean. And because of the greenhouse emission that the fossil fuel are actually producing. So just to, because we're talking about SDG 7, just talking about SDG 7 is more about, obviously having clean energy, but also making it affordable. But we have an issue because energy, in a lot of part of in the world, some part of the world are still, without electricity. So we can't actually talk about clean energy. We have to talk about, access to energy, and clean energy is probably not the priority. It's more about, getting the energy to get their economy going, because the energy is the engine of the economy and also the social development. And what we can also say is, without the energy, the other SDGs are actually at risk because, as you can imagine, energy will be, at all level. But then the challenge is, how do we, produce clean energy, which is still, a very high price. It's still costly to produce some of the energy, the renewable energy, and we have to balance that with the household income. And that's sometimes a challenge for, for some of the countries to actually use renewable energy instead of using straight away fossil fuel, which is cheaper for them. And then the problem also with the renewable energy is the reliability. We have that with solar. Obviously, we can't store the solar energy, so that's, a challenge. The wind energy as well is also, the storage is still an issue, and there's also the cost again, and also access, especially for wind, access to land. So yes, we want to produce clean energy, but at the same time, there is deforestation that is happening. So how is it balanced, in that case? And as you know as well, talking about SDG, we're looking at the universal SDG energy access for all in 2030. And that's a challenge because in the West, they're actually very well advanced, but, in developing countries, they're still, catching up in terms of having access to the basic, definitely. So that's an issue. Just to give you a little bit of, some example of how energy matter into, the economic growth. We've seen in some rural areas in India, the electrification increasing, the manufacturing and employment by 25%, which is, something I mentioned before, that the energy will be part of, creating jobs and also allowing, regional areas to get access to the energy. So it is, in that particular case, power, it was actually a good example of powering industry and enabling, digital infrastructure and commerce to happen, and also support the trade as well and help, with the productivity in that particular sector for the woman. So when we talk about, affordable energy, there's like different aspect that comes in. That's the, like I mentioned, the job creation, but also reducing the energy inequities is also a challenge, and making sure we empower communities as we've seen just now, trying to reach out to people in the regional, not just in cities, so that we can give them the opportunity to also be part of the economy in itself. And we've had example of affordable access through globalized supply chains, and that's just mean that instead of trying to find a solution locally, now a lot of remote areas can have access to to the global supply chain, and who can actually drastically reduce the energy cost. instead of them just trying to deal locally and having high costs to manage. So like we have things like technology wind in that are not affordable in low income region. We've seen projects in country like Ethiopia, Zambia. Now they can actually procure solar panels and battery from countries like China, and then it's actually cheaper than getting there from the Western countries. We've seen, for example, in Nigeria, where they got access to rural mini grids, that were able to empower more than 100,000 businesses. So creating value and creating empowering communities and creating jobs locally. And we also seen that entrepreneurs are bridging the energy gap with innovative models to especially for underserved communities. We've had these projects in Rwanda where they actually provide solar home system bundled with financing options, so which enable low income families to access clean energy. Sometimes it can be very costly for them to pay things in full, but with this system they can actually have a financial option that can be suitable for them. And we also have the digital innovation that's also helping here. We've seen a lot of mobile money platform. There's in Kenya, the M-Pesa in Kenya that enable a pay as you go energy system. So creating an ecosystem for renewable energy entrepreneurs. And so really, a lot of things happening so far where renewable energy is helping to empower community, and it's also helping to for them to become financially independent as well. So just to give you a little bit of a global perspective on what's happening. So as you know, we talk about a lot about climate change. We talk about a lot about green emission. So we are right now, we are in a transition right now. So we've seen at the beginning of the industrialization where everything was driven by fossil fuel. So that was, we've seen a global peak for coal and a global peak for oil in 2019. And since 2024, we kind of getting into increasing, production from renewable sources with the objective to actually reduce considerably the fossil fuel. But as we stand here, like I mentioned, uh, renewable energy is still a challenge in some areas. So we still have most of the energy coming up from the from fossil fuel. So, but we are on track to working on managing the challenges that we have right now with the clean energy production and renewable energy as well. So how can, youth can help in all this, in everything that is happening? So how can we actually, capitalize on the youth to make sure that SDG 7 is happening in 2030? So which mean, universal energy access, renewable energy expansion, energy efficiency improvement, and also sustainable infrastructure as well. So as you can see, it actually, touch quite a few SDG as well. So we really want the SDG 7 to be able to happen and have this, affordable and clean energy for all. So, and so we, when we talk about the youth and the energy evolution and the revolution that is happening as well, why are we looking at the youth? We're looking at the youth, first of all, I mean, it's the largest population globally. So, our population, our global population is is getting younger right now. We especially in in emerging market, we have, country like India where, it's booming. We have a lot of, countries, especially in Africa, Nigeria, and all this, the Western region where and North Africa as well, where the youth is booming. So that's something that we look at, and how do we actually empower this youth to be able to be part of this transition, this energy transition that we are going through. So largest population, and as we know, the youth, they're really good at with the digital, so they're digital native, they're fast learner and innovators, and really bold in what they're doing. And also, a lot of them are born in the era where we talk about climate awareness, and so they're really strong on climate awareness, and really trying, they also change makers in a way, because they're still learning, they're still trying, and they're taking risks. So we have to capitalize on that as well, and which make them, looking for problem solved, really being in a problem solving type of state. And and there's also the technology, and they also have community. A lot of them are online, so they create communities. And also, they also look at a lot of those policies that are, around as well. How do they implement the right things for them to be able to be part of this transition? And so they are also purpose driven, which is part of why they also focus on problem solving. So those are the reason why we really want them to be part of this evolution and energy evolution, but also revolution, if I can express myself that way. So how do the youth can support the SDG 7? So first of all, is really for them to focus on the tech savvy aspect of of the youth, which is we, like I said, they really like technology, and a lot of the thing that they're doing is using the technology and online. So and with that, they can focus on having access to anything that is linked to local solar devices. Like I mentioned, the project in Nigeria, where they were buying things in China. Now, instead of buying, trying to buy things in Nigeria, which are sometimes very costly, having using the some apps to monitor the energy. We have now possibility to have access to energy in a lot of African country, where they have a card, and then they just use this card that they charge to be able to to get access to the electricity again. The smart grid, microgrid as well, is a big one that where we see a lot of young entrepreneur being being part of this process. And also the electric mobility, the different electric mobility projects. And another area where we think the youth is very good is that the youth, they are about powering communities as well, looking at we've seen a lot of solar power schools, projects started by youth, people in uni or just finishing uni, clean cooking solution that they've have implemented. And also looking at waste to energy initiative, which is using the waste instead of creating pollution, really looking at organic waste to produce electricity or power locally. And also a lot of we've seen also various rural electrification projects that were started by youth in different region. And one of the other part where they are really pushing as well as youth is trying to change minds and policies. We have a lot of them are really into climate change on social media, advocating, being activists of climate, and they have campaigns that that are run to really making sure that people are understand what's going on, especially the young people like themselves. And we also have the school and community education and youth participation in energy policies. So there's a lot going on where we have the youth that needs to be really involved, and where they are very dynamic in pushing the transition and the energy revolution, or evolution as I call it. But sometimes it's very difficult for them. They have some challenges to be able to push those projects, and to be able to push this transition further. So there is, and they have limited funding, so access to funding can be an issue to start the different projects. And hence, having a big community is, creating a big community for them is important. The lack of mentorship. So yes, they are dynamic. Yes, they really want to push things, but there's a mentorship that still need to happen, either the technical mentorship, but also the leadership mentorship, like project management and other things that needs to be done. There's the skill gap that needs to be, addressed as well, because obviously they are young, they're still learning. So the skill gap is important. And in a lot of developing countries is limited access to labs and tools that they can use, for example, to create prototype that they or even do research to be able to create, to be able to solve the challenges that we still have with the renewable energy right now. And sometimes they're not taken seriously as well, because they're young. So whatever they can come up with is not actually taken seriously. So there are obviously ways to address, all those issues, and turning this barrier into bridges for them, which is creating, innovation hubs and incubators, locally for them. And then we also have, a lot of partnerships between, university and NGOs. So for the youth that are still studying, to get access to those NGOs and get, practical, get to work on practical project on the ground. And there are online platforms, obviously, and making sure that they are in networks that are going to, and where they can build collaboration to be able to be part of, this transition and this revolution. And there's obviously a certain step that that are recommended for them to follow. There's a 4-step normally that we use with some of the student that we have, which is for them to identify the problem that they're going through, the energy problem that they're going through in their region, design a solution, the test, and improve, whatever they come up with. And if they can scale and replicate and implement it, in real life, that's the last step. And then that basically help, you know, the different projects that some of the university are working on, or some of the, you know, the countries are working on. So like I mentioned, the first step will be to identify the problem. So it will be, you know, understanding this is more about power outrage, high energy costs, you know, polluting, you know, fuels or energy waste in schools or whatever. So it's really important for them to identify the key problem they have as far as energy is concerned. The step two and three is obviously to build and test and improve as well whatever they come up with, which is, you know, a concept to, you know, from the concept to the pilot. So there's, you know, we get them to do small prototype, and there's also they also do, you know, tests. They test at school, but also in the communities to see if whatever they come up with can work. And then with the feedback, they actually refine whatever they come up with. And the next step, which is the step four, is to scale and multiply, which is, you know, go now with partnership now that is working, get a partnership, especially you know, the funding that is very difficult. Have some innovation grants, climate, you know, competition, social media awareness, and training. So really, you know, getting to implement and to have, you know, a real impact on the ground as well. So when we talk about, you know, youth and the clean energy revolution, is really looking at how they can, you know, position themselves. And there are a few roles that, you know, when they are in university that they have to think about. Because, you know, we know that every young person has a role to play. So it can be as part of an innovator, entrepreneur, or be an engineer or a policy advocate, which is, you know, very important, an educator, and also, you know, just talk about, you know, what's happening as far as climate, you know, climate communication is going. I mean, and there are quite a lot of forums recently. There've been you know, the event in Brazil where you need the youth to be part of, you know, and communicate to the rest of, you know, of their community. And, you know, and what we really need to understand is, you know, it's not just going to be beneficial to SDG 7. It's going to be beneficial for SDG 3, which is related to health, SDG 4, which is related to the education, SDG 8, which is related to jobs, SDG 11, the sustainable cities that needs to be, you know, built, and also the SDG 13, which is about the climate action. So energy is really at the center of, you know, half of the SDGs. So that's a focus, you know, we need to have a focus on that to be able to be successful for the, you know, for the rest of the SDGs. And when we talk about, you know, the workforce, the future of the workforce, you know, for youth to be involved in what we call green jobs. So looking at, you know, being a renewable energy technician, data and AI for energy. And, you know, I mentioned AI. AI will need a lot of energy we will need a lot of energy to power AI. And that can be something that will, you know, challenge the renewable energy progress, because we will actually need the energy now. And we know that the renewable energy is not able to, you know, to power fully, not only the AI revolution, but also sustain the demand that we have right now in the world. So it's going to be a big challenge to see how we manage this transition with this big challenge. And then we have, sustainable engineering, which is, and also climate entrepreneur, and obviously policy and governance, which are a big, a big part, especially as we talk about, health and safety for, in the energy sector as well. So, just to know, what the youth must do now. So there are a few things. So learn, the clean energy skills, because, as I mentioned, there are new jobs that are coming and new opportunity for them. Start, some projects if they are they're still studying, or really start to work on the project in their communities, and really join youth climate and innovation networks, where they can work as a community, and at the same time create a bigger impact than if they had to work solo. So which is what the next step is really building and capitalizing on the power of collaboration. So collaborating, like we said, collaborating beat isolation, and network multiply impact, and really for them to make history and create a big impact so far. And so the key thing is really work on the universal access to clean energy. We have a lot of projects, especially as far as the research is concerned. Youth-led, solar and microgrid project, digital energy platforms, and really having those build more communities that are going to support the zero emission and the climate change, and the energy transition. So we're getting to the end, really, and is really to understand that the clean energy resolution will not be led only by governments, because I think sometimes we tend to think that it will happen just, the government are going to be at the center of everything, and the corporations as well. It will be powered by young innovator, like, whoever is listening, who is a youth here. It will be powered by you, young innovators. We need we need your ideas, we need your expertise, and we need your determination to be able to be part of this. So your idea matters, your voice matters, and your action will shape tomorrow. And you need to learn about the clean energy and start, especially if you're not there yet, need to start to get more insight on what's going on in the clean energy, and start if you can, school projects, start to go into your communities and understand what are the challenges, the energy challenges, and start, if you have a school, start a project and start leading in that regard. And so I've just, here just gave some ideas of of different, at different level type of project that the student can actually get, involved in. They can start, especially if they are in high school, they can start a school solar club. They can run an energy saving campaigns. They can build, solar projects. And we have real example, for example, in Kenya, where they build a solar power lighting for their classroom. Obviously, they were challenged in terms of getting the electricity, and they just built that for their school. At the university level, you can build, energy startups, and start to do some research on green energy and storage. We know that storage is a big issue for renewable energy. So have, you do some research into how we can store the energy that we produce from solar, from wind, and from other source of renewable energy. Develop AI energy monitoring applications that will be useful to monitor, especially monitoring the green emission and some other things that we need to manage as far as the clean energy and the climate change is concerned. So we had, a university student in actually in India created a EV charging optimization application, and that was really amazing for them to monitor really, all the in energy and whatever they could, produce so far. And so we, as part of, if you are youth just finishing and entering entrepreneurship, again, you can build, a clean energy startups, get into the energy sector, access climate accelerator grants. There are grants. There's a lot of, money actually that is put out there to make sure the research is going on and this transition is being accelerated. Create off-grid solar businesses. And again, in Nigeria, we had like a youth startup deliver pay-as-you-go solar to rural villages. That's been, an amazing project for them to be able to have that. And so basically, the real, youth clean energy innovation will be, we had also project like Solar Sisters, so women and youth distributing solar in different countries in Africa. Barefoot College, which is a youth training, solar engineers. So this Barefoot College program is to form, engineers specifically for the solar and the solar industry as renewable energy. And also you've led micro grid in Southeast Asia. There are a few as well, and we have also African youth building e-waste recycling for clean energy storage. So there's a lot going on. Funding is not always, available, even if there are a lot of, scheme out there. It's just the awareness and making sure. And that's why it is important to have the youth to come into, network and groups so that they can have access to those opportunities. And so that's really all I wanted to share and really get into if there are questions or clarification that needs to be given. Again, thank you for having me today, and I hope it was something that you've learned. Whatever I've shared today was a good insight for you to build on.
Uh, Thank you, Dr. Tulikima, for this amazing session. Your ideas on renewable energy, energy transition, and the role of youth in creating a low carbon future and new innovative are very inspiring. We truly appreciate your time and guidance. Now we'll move to the question and answer session. Participant, please raise your hands. We will try to include as many questions as we can. Yes, Wasim Ali Banhar. Wasim, yes.
So first of all, thank you so much, man. These 45 minutes were very crucial for me in terms of understanding the problems that the youth is facing right now and their solutions. So basically, my question was that, ma'am, how can young innovators overcome the perception that climate entrepreneurship is risky and financial unprofitable in developing countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, or India?
I don't know if I got the question very well. So you basically inquiring about the different scheme that exists in a project that exists in the region of Pakistan, India, and is that correct? Or the risk?
Yes, Wasim, can you repeat your question?
Yeah, of course, sir. Basically, I am trying to say that how can young innovators overcome the perception that climate entrepreneurship is a risky and financially unprofitable in developing countries? Right now, we have also a future, and we are just now going to be activists in the climate entrepreneurship. So,
Yeah. So, I mean, like I shared with you today, there actually a lot of, initiative and grants and, financial help that are available. Not only, I don't know specifically about Pakistan or India, but globally, where there is a push actually to implement, like I mentioned, to implement local projects where clean energy is produced. So I mean, some projects are still risky, especially if you talk about project like hydrogen projects. So they're still very risky because and still very expensive. But if you talk about a solar project or waste to energy project, um, those are kind of straightforward projects where you can now find not only grants but also have access, like I mentioned in one of the case in Nigeria, to buy things on different supply international supply chain to reduce price, and then you can start your project and get it to break through because of the lower cost at which you actually get the different tools, the different the panels and the grids and everything. So um, it is still, some of them are still risky. And I must say, I hear a lot about hydrogen, but it's still very risky, and there's still a lot of research to be done to be able to make it, as a technology that's going to break through. But things like solar energy or waste to energy, sometime thermal, it depends really of the quantity that can be produced, are still, project where you can you can still, become an entrepreneur. But you really need to check locally, how it will be implemented and access the grant. So I think you can do a research. There's a few, grants around. I don't know specifically about, like I said, about Pakistan. And get a little bit more information on that.
all right. Thank
I
you so
don't know
much,
if it
ma'am.
answer your
Mm,
question.
no, ma'am. This was the perfect answer of my question.
Okay, all right, no problem.
There's another question in text and chat. In what ways can countries recycle greenhouse gases?
In what European country?
In what ways can countries recycle greenhouse gases?
Oh, I couldn't hear. Can you please repeat again? Maybe it's my own.
Yes, I'm here
What are the ways
to say
that
that
can countries?
in what ways can countries recycle greenhouse gases? In what ways can
And
countries
what ways
recycle
you?
greenhouse gases?
Okay. How do you recycle greenhouse?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, I mean, there are a few things that you can do. So the greenhouse emission, it depends. You have gases that you can re-inject. For example, I'm actually a petroleum engineer, so they are the gas sometimes that we don't want, we re-inject it. That helps to give more pressure to the reservoir. to give it an artificial lift to actually produce a little bit more, but that's in the fossil fuel area. So that's one particular area that I know, when there is unwanted gas or greenhouse emission that you don't want actually to pollute the atmosphere, is to re-inject it. So you have underground storage as well that you can also do, which are still very, expensive in some areas to have those underground, reinjection and storage. But as far as I'm concerned, and as far as my competencies is concerned, I've seen that we reinject in the reservoir to help, especially in those depleted reservoir, to help either produce more of the oil or the gas, or just bury it into the what we call the aquifer, or in the ground. So that's been one of the thing. Other thing is to produce them and produce the gas and treat it, and use it for other things. Sometime in the agriculture area, there've been, people using that as well for agriculture. I don't know the process in detail myself, but it has been also one area that this gas is recycled and used again as well.
Thank you, ma'am. So we have no more question left. So engage together. We are building a more climate aware community. We look forward to seeing you in the next session. Stay motivated, stay inspired, and keep taking action for our planet. And thank you, and have a wonderful day. Thank you. Goodbye, Allah Hafiz.
Okay, thank you very much, and stay active. Stay, like I mentioned, be part of the solution. If you identify a problem, I don't know if you want me to share the presentation as well for your student, and just making sure you go through that process and be part of the solution as well.
I
Thank
think
you.
that would be good if you share a presentation.
Okay, all right. So I will send you the presentation, and then you can share with the rest of the group.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.